Greetings and salutations, guys. Eric here with my review and thoughts on the Agatha All Along finale, the 2 episode finale. I'm recording this at 2 in the morning. I was out at a couple movies tonight, got home, just watched these 2 episodes starting at midnight. And so now I'm going to share my thoughts. I'm a little tired, actually, I'm a lot tired, but I do want to do this while it's kind of fresh in my mind. But it'll probably be a big jumble, and I'll probably think of a bunch of things afterwards I should have said and have other thoughts on. But that's life. So let's jump in here. I do have some notes I'll be glancing at throughout here. First and foremost, I thought this was a really strong ending to what has been a really strong series. I think this has been one of the best of any of the Marvel Studios MCU shows so far on Disney Plus. I don't want to say a pleasant surprise because, again, I've mentioned before, Jack Schaefer, the showrunner of this, she did WandaVision, which I think is the best of all the shows that they've done so far. So it's not like I had low expectations for this. Mostly, though, I did understand that the show was premiering at a time with, the MCU. People have been kind of waiting to see it get a little more focused after a time where it's been a little turbulent. And also, Agatha as a character is not one that you would guess you normally would get a show, and I don't think in 2024 she would get a show if they were greenlighting series today, because they're being much more conservative on what they're greenlighting and trying to pull back a bit. All that being said, I'm so glad we got this show. It's been so fun. It got better and better. This back half has been great, and I thought this finale was great and really kind of delivered on a lot of things I wanted, and delivered a big emotional ending and had a great reveal that let's get to. Full spoilers, I should have said that, but I think you probably guessed that. This show is called Agatha All Along, and it's called that because the song was so catchy and memorable on WandaVision. But I loved that in the finale we learned it was Agatha all along. That the Witch's Road never existed, that it was all a con that Agatha herself came up with based on a song that she and her son Nicholas had come up with together, that she was using to straight up murder witches and absorb their power and get more power for herself. It was really dark and twisted and clever and sad because, of course, this is in the wake of what happens to losing her son. But yeah, what a great reveal that was, to find out, yes, it was Agatha all along, that she put this in motion. She didn't put in motion the real road appearing, and that was Billy's doing. And that was great too, because at the end, going out of episode, I guess it was the penultimate one, episode 8, when Billy is looking at his walls, and it's kind of this funny Usual Suspects Kaiser Soze reveal, except it turns out it's a reveal that he did to himself. I was like, okay, what exactly is going on here? It all came from his mind. But then finding out, yeah, because there'd never been a road until he basically WandaVisioned the road. So yeah, it was a great continuation of WandaVision, the show in general as a spinoff, but then specifically Billy and what he did here and inadvertently creating the road for the first time. But then just coupled with finding out what the truth is and how dark that truth was with Agatha's history, I thought that was excellent. Now I have a couple quibbles about the finale. I think I'll just handle them here. And now that I've said my first big praise, I got more praise. But yeah, here's a couple things. The very end, which is the ghost of Agatha and Billy going on this quest to find Tommy. I feel like it lacks some weight because Billy has already been looking for Tommy for several episodes. We understood, well, he has been since the beginning, but we understood for a few episodes now that's his main goal, is to find his brother, find Tommy. So to have this show end with like, let's go find Tommy, when that was already a stated goal several episodes before, I think that kind of undercut the power of that as sort of forward as far as like, here's what we're going to do next. So I wish there was something more to it, whether it be actually seeing Tommy or something else altogether. It just felt like that wasn't enough because that was already something that we knew Billy was trying to do. And the other thing was Jen. It was very funny that after Alice, it felt like Alice's trial was kind of given a little bit of a cursory, like it didn't really get deep with Alice, but we got her trial, we got the bit with the song, but this felt so rushed through. Everything about the reveal of like the fact that it was Agatha responsible for Jen not having her powers, and then how quickly Jen got them back. It literally felt like they were just out of time as far as like realizing that with these two final episodes, there wasn't that much time they had that they could allot to Jen's story and to Jen's trial. So that felt super raced through. That being said, I liked Jen as a character. She was very funny, and I'm glad she survived. And I think that it was a cool reveal that, yeah, that was the big net positive of Billy intervening in all this, was that Agatha was going to straight up murder everyone. And so Billy saved one life. He saved Jen by, his presence and by making the road real. So even though Jen's actual trial felt like, extremely just this sort of extraneous cursory thing, I do like how it was, attached to Billy's story and what we were learning about him in this finale. But back to more praising, just here, little things I'm going to mix with bigger things. Death, when we saw Rio/Death, I'm going to call her Death, tearing open that backdrop in the back. There's been some fun behind the scenes stuff from Agatha All Along, and the fact that this was so many practical sets and that everything they were walking around on the road was really there. I love just having her tearing open what was just, the actual background on set. First of all, yes, it's funny that they found a very cheap way to do what in another, huge budget MCU movie might be this incredible mystical portal that special effects people work on for months. Instead, it's just literally having Aubrey Plaza tear open some fabric. But it's also very clever. And it just works as like a fun, Agatha All Along twist on this. And it works just to show the power of death in a different way than you might. Then instead of like, crazy, explosions and, energy blasts, she just literally tears it. So love that. And then the literal kiss of death. We finally got the Death Agatha kiss. But it is a kiss of death. It ends Agatha's life, although not her story. So that was a great sort of big dramatic moment. I will say I wish we got to know a little bit more about Death as a character, which is always funny to sort of say. But hey, she is a character. What we got was interesting for the future as far as the flashback and the reveal that her and Agatha's love story was so long ago, and that she did seem like a kind entity. Almost said person, entity. She clearly was sympathetic. She clearly felt bad about what was going to happen with Nicholas. But I did want to sort of see her perspective a little more, because by the time they're reunited, her and Agatha in the modern day, and she's sort of cackling and being like Aubrey Plaza, getting to have a lot of fun, being like crazy, evil Death. Well, okay, that's it's fun to see her do that, but I did want to see how she got there, and maybe it can't just be the fact that Agatha has been a killer. Well, maybe it is. That's where the complication is, right? Because Death collects these bodies. That's like her sort of her thing. But at the same time, maybe she didn't want Agatha murdering people left and right all this time. We have to kind of, for now, fill in some blanks because we don't know the specifics about what went on there. But I am intrigued. So hopefully we will get the answers to that at some point, because it feels like Death is too big a character to not do more with in one way or another. Let's see. The entire approach of the finale of the very last episode, so much of it being focused on this flashback with Agatha and Nicholas, and really taking the time. That's what I really appreciated. It's the finale, and I think maybe they were, showing that they learned some lessons from the WandaVision finale, which, rightfully got knocked for kind of not feeling in tune with the rest of the show. I love WandaVision. I also understand the finale is not the strongest episode, especially coming after a really interesting penultimate episode. And here I think that they wanted to kind of take that step back and say, no, we can do something a little deeper, a little more emotional, and, and pause and dig deep about, if we're going to do this big reveal about this character, why not have it be in the finale? And I love that. And I thought, they sold it really well, because I think I kept mentioning how I didn't want them to sort of sell out Agatha as a bad guy, but that didn't mean that they couldn't explain her more as a bad guy. And I think this show really did a great job of that, because as we saw, she has been a killer for a long time. And she was killing people before Nicholas died. Probably, it's not explicitly said, but it's like maybe this is part of the deal she made with Death, right? That Death would hold off on taking Nicholas, whether it was what Death asked for or just something that Agatha decided on her own to do. But she was a loving mother who was also using her son to help her lure in completely innocent victims that she was murdering left and right. And we saw didn't really give it much thought. It's like I think that's what was a great thing about the character of Agatha in this show. She has love. She has capacity for love, but she is laser focused in that love. So she loves Nicholas, and then she kind of loves Billy, has someone that she has this motherly feeling toward because he reminds her of Nicholas. But everyone else she can kind of be like, you're inconsequential. And so I thought that this flashback did a great filling in that about Agatha, and not saying, oh no, she's only an innocent who was wronged. It's like, no, she was always merciless. She loved her son, but everyone else she was so merciless with. And then when she finally lost her son, that then she was already a killer, but now she was going even further, and in sort of this very cruel, dismissive way, never gave it a second thought. And we never saw her say, oh my god, I can't believe I betrayed all those people. That's just not part of her. She will do what she can to save the one or two people that she actually does love. But yeah, that doesn't extend very far. And I thought that they did a great job here of, because it was sad. I felt sad for Agatha when she wakes up and she's holding her son and he's dead. It's an emotional moment. Catherine Hahn plays it really well. And yet we also see right after that, with the full reveal of the Witch's Road song and what she did with the legend she didn't really mean to spread, but she had. She just goes for it. She is all in on now, just using that ruse to gain more and more power. And yeah, I thought I loved everything about that, the flashbacks and that reveal. And then Billy becoming Wiccan. He doesn't use the name Wiccan, but showing up in the full sort of superhero costume from the comics. That was awesome. And I love that we'd already seen earlier in the season that he kind of has his version of the Scarlet Witch's headgear. I love that that's part of his costume, because in the comics, he just basically wears a headband with that red cape and that red cloak and that costume. Here, that it does match his mom. I think that's a really nice touch. I like that tweak a lot. I'm guessing the comic books might follow suit, since that happens a lot with stuff that in the MCU influencing the comic books. But that was great. He looked awesome. And made me excited again for if we ever get Young Avengers. They keep introducing Young Avengers. I don't know if we're actually going to get Young Avengers, but I'd be excited to see it. Which leads me back to the ending and just sort of the place where we don't know what's going to happen next, and how that can be frustrating right now. Because for several years now, that's been a problem with the MCU. Is in the past, when we'd see Thor's hammer at the end of Iron Man 2, we knew a Thor movie was coming the next year. So it's like there was already this like, don't worry, we got you. We're not just introducing these things. It's been the opposite right now for several years, with a lot of teases and a lot of setup for things that we just don't know when we're ever going to see it picked up again. And we've gone years with that now, with these characters that are introduced in mid-credit scenes or way movies end. Whether they were not big hits or they were very well received, like Shang-Chi. We haven't seen Shang-Chi again. It wasn't even like a mid-credit, tease of someone else. We just haven't seen that guy again. So that's frustrating with the end, because especially because this show is so well received. It's like, okay, Agatha and Billy on the quest to find Tommy, but when the hell will that be picked up? We have no idea. And there's been no series except for Loki amongst these Marvel Disney Plus series to even get a season 2. I would really love if Agatha became the second one. Wouldn't it be a cool kind of story for this show too? The show that people were very dismissive, or being like, okay, this show, who asked for this? I mean, a lot of stuff gets that sort of sarcastic, over the top reaction, but this show got a lot of that. It'd be awesome if the show did get a second season. It's been so well received. The reviews have been really strong, and there's been some reports that the viewership has been going up since the first episode, which doesn't happen a lot these days, especially with these Marvel and Star Wars shows that are going to get curiosity from the first episode and then it's going to drop off as some people don't come back. So I hope we get a second season. That'd be great to sort of continue the show in that way. If we don't, I hope we get an announcement of something in the near future. Young Avengers, a Scarlet Witch movie, something that we can at least get some hope that we're going to see these characters soon. I think we will. I think the reaction to this show, I don't think they're going to just never come back to them. And I think that they do want to give us Tommy. And, we know the Vision show is coming. So that's one place that they could deal with this. But I don't know if they will. And, Scarlet Witch is going to come back. There's no way she's going to stay dead. So, yeah, there's a lot of hope for down the road. Down the witch's road. But I would love if we got information about that soon, because I think that has been a very frustrating aspect, right, of the MCU the past few years, is just waiting to find out, when are we going to pick up any of this? So, but again, I'm glad. My feeling is I don't care. It's not, I don't care. It's very invested. It's very okay, I want to see more of this. So let us know, guys. And I think a lot of people share that. I hope you do. But let me know in the comments if you do or not, or if you're this wasn't for me. But yeah, I was very happy with this finale overall. Those quibbles aside, I think that this show just, it got better and better. It really found it in the second, the midway point of the season is when it really started to click in, and it's just been, very exciting since. But operating on its own terms, not trying to be the biggest thing ever, not trying to have end of the world stakes, telling a story about Agatha and Billy. Ultimately, it was these two characters that were driving everything. I think it did really well by both those characters, and makes me excited to see more of them. And I just hope it's not, a 5-year wait for that to happen. All right, guys, those are my rambling middle of the night. It's 2:27 a.m. right now as I'm finishing this, because it was a little after 2 a.m. when I started. Thoughts on the Agatha All Along finale. Like I said, let me know in the comments what you think, and if you're hoping for season 2, or if you just want to see maybe the story picked up somewhere else. If you could like and subscribe if you have not, that would be excellent. And that's it for now. I'll be back with, more movie reviews and whatever else comes to mind in the near future. Thanks. Take care.